Insomniac has no competition. Nothing comes even close. When I opened this game, I wish I recorded my first impressions, but I cannot fake that. Okay, I was literally the hands on my controller and I couldn't move. I was just looking at an explosion of details everywhere. It's just insane. Okay, this game is trying to cause an explosion in your brain. It's like, holy crap, so much stuff on the screen. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. I was like, controller on my hand, not moving, and I was like, just looking at everything. I'm like, no competition. It's that simple, no competition. HDR, I'm not going to say absolutely perfect because the peak brightness slider in game doesn't do what it's telling you. I don't know why. It's just not doing what it's telling you, so you have to change it. But the picture quality on HDR is absolutely perfect. Okay, this is like the way HDR is supposed to look, in my opinion. This is absolutely perfect. No black level rays. The contrast of the image is flawless. It's just fantastic. We have zero perfect blacks. Nothing looks washed out. The colors are ferocious. Okay, it's just a beautiful game. HDR is amazing. The performance of the game is amazing, despite this game trying to push the graphics. Okay, the quality of the game it looks the best. It looks the best. It performs the best. It has settings so you can, get that DLSS or FSR with dynamic resolution scaling, which is actually the only complaint that I have about this game. Is like, Digital Foundry pointed out, the dynamic resolution scaling is not, it doesn't respond fast enough. So you get the drop on the FPS and then the dynamic resolution scaling kicks in and then you get the FPS target. But I guess this is going to be fixed soon because Spiderman dynamic resolution scaling works perfect. So I would expect the same for this game soon. And that is so important. That is actually my favorite feature for Spiderman and for this game, because in my opinion, the best gaming experience is a locked frame rate. Regardless if you're gonna use VRR, G-Sync, FreeSync, or you're gonna use, of course, if you're gonna use OLED Motion Pro, BF5, backlight, strobing, any of those techniques, most likely you need a locked frame rate anyway. So that's my favorite setting on this game, and unfortunately it needs some tweaking, so it is more aggressive. It responds faster, so you don't get the drop FPS before that resolution is reduced, so you can keep the consistent performance. But still, the game performs what do you want? You want 60, 100, 120, of course. It depends on your system. It depends on your PC, especially the CPU. It's gonna be a little bit heavy if you want to push all the graphics, especially ray tracing, but I don't care about that. So I just turn ray tracing off and I can get 100 frames per second consistent in this game to use OLED Motion Pro. So far, I loaded the beginning of the game again, but so far, as long as I've been playing, which I've been playing this game non-stop. Like, I'm glued to the TV. I was like, man, I have to do the video, but I don't want to stop playing. Okay, it's just so good, and I don't even care too much about this game. This is the kind of game that I'm playing because it is just technically incredible. It just looks so good. It sounds so good that I want to play it. So I don't care too much about the gameplay. I don't care too much about anything else really. It's just that it looks so fantastic. I wish, here's the thing, I wish that Insomniac, of course they are not going to do it, but I wish they do a Souls-like game, man. Because, man, a Souls-like game, can you imagine Elden Ring looking like this and performing like this? Wow. That's just the perfect game. So I would like Insomniac to do, you know, a Sekiro, you know, Ghost of Tsushima like. I mean, that's a fantastic game. I haven't had the opportunity to play, but I wish they do a Souls-like game, because, you know, that's just the kind of games that I like. So my question is it them? Of course, it's them, the Insomniac, the developers. They are the best, no competition. But I wonder if a different developer can use this engine and the same tools that they have and produce something with this level of quality. Because after you experience this, after you play Spiderman, you know, the amazing Spiderman, Miles Morales, and you play this Ratchet and Clank, it's like, you know, when a new game comes out and it's like 60 frames per second with DLSS performance, and you look at the screen, you're like, it doesn't look better than this. And you're like, the bar is set too high. This is, I believe that my PC, my TV, my entire system cannot give me a better experience. It's that simple. This is the maximum gaming experience that my system can offer me, and that's the way I want to feel about every single game. Of course, you want to, you know, if you have a PC, you know at this point, after playing many games, you know what the kind of experience that you can get with your system. That's why when a new game comes out and you don't get that experience, there's no justification. You shouldn't have to upgrade your PC so you can get the level of quality that you are supposed to get. You know, this is the level of quality that I'm supposed to get. I'm not supposed to get 1080p 60 low settings. Okay, that's not the kind of experience I should be getting. Remnant 2. Okay, this is the kind of experience I should be getting. That's why I was so upset with that Remnant 2. Great game, but it's just the performance is trash, man. It doesn't come even close to this. So here, I can get 100 frames per second. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish the video to keep playing. Let me give you some settings before I finish. If you wanna play this game with native HDR, which is totally worth it. I mean, I'm going to be switching between native HDR. Actually, I'm going to play for now with native HDR until they fix the dynamic resolution scaling. And then once they fix the dynamic resolution scaling, then I'm going to switch to play with OLED Motion Pro high at 100 FPS, 100 Hertz on the game. But for now, I'm going to use native HDR. So for native HDR, you have to use this tool to see that in-game peak brightness slider, to calibrate it basically. So you can get the Maxcll that you need depending on your display. So for example, to get Maxcll 800, you need to set that in-game slider to 966. Okay, 966. That's going to work for HGIG 800 nits for this LG C1, C2, CX. So if you need more, if you have a G2, you need 1000. Then you just need to get these tools working. Link in the description of the video. This works very well. And then just increase that in-game peak brightness slider until you get Maxcll 1000. If you have a G3, then you increase it even more. I think the game doesn't reach 1500, so you might have to use some tone mapping with this new HDR tone mapping options we have on Reshade. Link in the description of the video if you want to check that out, how to do that. So now for OLED Motion Pro High, what I'm doing here is I am reducing the peak brightness slider in the game to get Maxcll 400. Okay, so what I'm doing is I have Maxcll 400 on the game, and then I am doing tone mapping, dynamic tone mapping. I am using dynamic tone mapping here. See, HDR tone mapping on. This is dynamic tone mapping. And then I come here to this secret menu, and then I'm selecting master in peak Maxcll 400. Okay, to push more brightness. And the reason why I believe this is going to give me the brightest overall picture, so the brightest midtones, is because if the display doesn't have to push highlights, then it has more energy available to push the overall brightness of the image. That's in theory, but now honestly I cannot tell the difference unless I see a side-by-side picture or I can see the changes happening immediately. I cannot really tell the difference. By the time I change the settings, I cannot tell the difference, but in theory this should give me more brightness than if I just increase the in-game peak brightness slider and then I increase this tone mapping here. So let's say I set the in-game brightness slider to give me 1000, Maxcll 1000. Then I come here and I select 1000. I should be getting less brightness for the midtones because now there are some highlights that the TV needs to use energy to push harder. And you are not getting that brightness anyway because you're using OLED Motion Pro in that case. So that's why I recommend this. I recommend to reduce that if you want to use OLED Motion Pro High, which is what I'm going to use as soon as they fix that dynamic resolution scaling. This is amazing. It looks very, very good. But for now, if I want to play with OLED Motion Pro High, I cannot use the dynamic resolution scaling. I would use DLSS Performance, and that works very well so far with my 3080. I have a 3080 and a 5800 X3D. So that's it, man. It's just a treat. It's a treat. If you have any questions, let me know. I can post. I'm gonna post in the comments what is the in-game peak brightness slider to get 400, 540. I'm talking about the Maxcll of the game. What is the setting on the in-game HDR slider? What is the setting to get 400, 540 if you want to test for OLED Motion Pro? How to get 800, 1000, and you cannot get 1500 because and I'm just gonna tell you what is the maximum, the Maxcll when you max out the in-game peak brightness slider. The paper white on the game affects some effects like the rain, some particle effects for some reason. So I just leave that at the default. You can increase it, but I don't see. Yeah, the rain looks brighter, but I don't believe the rain is supposed to look brighter anyway. So I just leave it at the default for the HDR paper white, and the rest of the settings, of course, contrast and brightness, I just leave that at the default setting. So that's my recommendation. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I'm gonna post some details on the description of the video, but let me know if you have any specific questions to set up the HDR or anything else. So I'm gonna finish the video here and enjoy my time.